After we win last year in Yankee Stadium, he comes up to me, he was saying it to everyone, 9 more to go, Stan. And then this year, as soon as it was over, the first thing he says is 8 more to go. And he looks at me deadly seriously and says, Stan, the batting cage is my home. I go, okay, I got.
Who the cares about either?
Both of them spend more money than everybody. It's baseball.
Yeah, that's why baseball sucks. That's why baseball sucks. You just buy World Series championships. It's the dumbest.
Yeah, I don't know if people like this, but I feel like only losers complain about what they're doing. I think they're a great team. They're a great organization. That's why guys want to go there and play. LA's a great city to play in.
ドジャースのスタンカステン CEO はポッドキャスト番組のスタークビルに出演し、ロングインタビューに答えました。番組内でドジャースが野球を破壊しているに対する怒りのコメントや大谷にまつわる多くのエピソードなど注目を集めていますので訳しました。なお、映像はなく音声だけとなっています。
The legendary Stan Kasten joins us. Stan, welcome to America's favorite tourist destination, Starkville. How are you?
I always want to get here. I feel like a tourist. This is great.
I told Andrew when he was on that, he'd done a lot in his career. Now he's made it. He's made it to Starkville. Now, same with you.
It took me longer than Andrew, but okay, whatever. I'm just happy to be here.
We're very happy to have you. So before we get started, I should let people know that Doug had to step away for a few minutes. So this fun little chat will be just me. Let's go down this road just a little bit, okay? First off, I want to run a quote by you. It's from Jason Kelce. I'm guessing you've heard of him. He's not the Kelce brother who is engaged to Taylor Swift, if that helps, okay? So after the Dodgers won the World Series, he had a hot take that seemed like it kind of set the internet on fire. He said, baseball stinks. He didn't say stinks. You just buy World Series championships. It's the dumbest thing in the world. Stan, I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
We're going to stamp baseball for what?
Listen, just because the Phillies didn't make it doesn't mean the World Series wasn't absolutely epic. That was an awesome 7 games of baseball, man. It was back and forth.
Yeah.
Both teams had their shining moments. The Blue Jays are up all game going into the 8th inning.
So you're telling me I'm supposed to get excited about a Canadian baseball team and a team that just spends more money than everybody else? Who the cares about either?
Both of them spend more money than everybody. It's baseball.
Yeah, that's why baseball sucks. That's why baseball sucks. You just buy World Series championships. It's the dumbest thing in the world.
I was enjoying the out of it. It's exciting.
It's exciting. It's exciting that the team that spent the most money and everybody knew was going to win the World Series won the World Series.
It was the unexpected person that won it for him.
It was unexpected. Everybody knew this was going to happen before the season. We just had a bunch of meaningless happen before it, and then it happened. So yeah, no, baseball not getting my stamp.
First of all, history demonstrates that's not true because usually the team with the highest payroll doesn't win the World Series. So I hate to throw facts at him, but I will throw one quote from someone in his city, and that's Bryce Harper, who said, the only people complaining are losers. I think he's exactly right. What got us to the position we're in, the position of being able to have lost a World Series at any point in the World Series 20 different ways, was because, yes, we had a high payroll, but those people need to be led and developed, and we need to be backed up by a farm system that is productive year in, year out. Without that, we couldn't compete, and just buying a world championship, if it were true, more teams would be trying that approach. It's not true. You need everything to succeed.
What they've been able to do has generated a lot of discussion in the sport, right? The way they've been able to add players, the way they've been able to find players, specifically from Japan, right? They've kind of found a fount of talent. When you look at what they've done, what's just kind of your big picture look at what they're doing for the sport?
Yeah, I don't know if people like this, but I feel like only losers complain about what they're doing. I think they're a great team. They're a great organization. That's why guys want to go there and play. LA is a great city to play in, obviously. It's, they're at the mecca of kind of the world of everything, right? From food to nightlife to sports, from the Dodgers to the Lakers to anybody. So, no, I mean they're going to continue to get guys. They're going to continue to pull guys from this sport. That's.
I understand the media narrative about ruining sports. That even the people who wrote it weren't serious about it, because quite the contrary, what the Dodgers and their profile have done in the last couple of years contributed to an enormous number of new fans following us, following our sport, not just domestically, but around the world. All of that's really good for baseball. All 30 teams share in the benefit of our sport growing. I'm happy to play any role we can in growing our sport.
51 million people watched Game 7. 51 million. That's across the United States, Canada, and Japan. And I do think that is telling us that not only are the Dodgers not ruining baseball, they're drawing eyeballs to baseball around the world. Is that basically what you're saying?
No question about it. And I'll remind Hal that when he was the evil empire, he didn't ruin baseball either. Many have tried. They've all failed. Baseball is still here and very, very strong.
Yeah. I want to ask you about Japan. What the Dodgers are doing to turbocharge interest in Major League Baseball in Japan, it's incredible. It's obviously working great for the Dodgers. How do you think it's working for the rest of the sport?
Well, let's remember, we have 3 Japanese players. I think that's more coincidence than anything else. There are plenty really good Japanese players spread around the major leagues. We all know about that. I don't see us, ever having a team exclusively or even primarily Japanese players, but we'll continue to follow it. And I think what we have done is highlight for everyone that there is a real stream of talent there that we should all be tapping into. I'll never forget, I was, again, doing my duty in Atlanta when this player named Ichiro came over here. And I'm going to tell you, until Ichiro came over here, we didn't know that a Japanese position player could really succeed here. We didn't know that. And then we find out, wait a second, he's actually the best player in the world, including here in the major leagues. We found that out. And that opened a lot of doors. So we all learn from the lessons that other teams show us. We all copy whatever good practices we can see.
Yeah, except I do hear other teams, and certainly their fans, grumbling it's a problem for baseball because every great player from Japan is just going to automatically sign with the Dodgers, assuming you are interested, if he fits in your team. It does seem like you've cornered the market on 2 of the very best pitchers we've seen come here, all right, in Sasaki and Yamamoto, not to mention Shohei. If all the great players in Japan want to play for the Dodgers first and foremost, does that create any kind of significant competitive balance issue for the sport?
I will refer you to my friend Bryce Harper's comment that the only people complaining are losers. We're not cornering anything. We are very popular in Japan, and you should know the lion's share, if not all of that interest and money that flows from that popularity goes to Central Baseball. They own those rights. All teams share, all teams benefit. But there's no question that the combination of our profile, our legacy, our history, combined with Shohei's profile, was baseball putting its best foot forward. That was just something that no one could have engineered unless this team wanted it and Shohei wanted it. And it worked out well for everybody. Baseball doesn't usually get that lucky with business developments, but they did here because it propelled baseball popularity and sales in everything to another level because the fit was so perfect. Everyone doesn't have that kind of fit, right? Even when he played for the Angels, which is pretty close, the fit wasn't quite what it is here. What we are doing as I've said before, and which I think is manifestly evident, is really good for all of baseball. And we're proud of that.
You know, Doug and I are, I would say, borderline obsessed with Shohei. Do you have a favorite story of the Shohei negotiations?
I have a couple. I told him we were sitting around once, and I told him, we first started pursuing you not 6 years ago, but 10 years ago when he was making the decision, leaving high school, does he play over there or does he sign with the Dodgers? Our scouts, we thought, were able to convince his family to come here. In the end, his father prevailed in keeping him there. Who can argue with that decision? But I said 6 years ago, you made a decision, and if you'd made a different decision, it would have changed your life and our lives for the better. And I looked at him in the eye and I said, don't make the same mistake. He just laughed out loud. And then the other thing I do need to tell you, he was walking around the clubhouse, and we were still one of those teams that only had one batting cage. Okay, fine. We only had one batting cage. Other teams I'm seeing, they have two batting cages. Okay, really? You think we should have two? That's in our plan. We're going to have two batting cages. So we did put in a second batting cage. After his first year, it's time to put in the second batting cage. And to do that, we had to tear up the lower level of our ballpark, tear out all the seats, dig down, expand the facilities, do all that, and get a new batting cage along with a lot of other things. And so he's in my office one day in the off season, and we're looking down at the field, which is a construction site at its worst. Okay, it's just horrible because we're putting in the batting cage along with other things. And I say to him, Joe, we need this other batting cage. I get it. But last year you did 50-50. And last year we won the Silver Slugger for team offense. We did all that with one batting cage. So do we really need it? And he looks at me deadly seriously and says, Stan, the batting cage is my home. I go, okay, I got nothing to that then, but you got it. He was just sincere about it, and I thought that was just great.
I love it. I think every year you win the World Series, you should add another batting cage. That'll keep him happy.
It's weird you say that because when we won this year's Silver Slugger also, and I went up to him and I said, if we hadn't, I would have really been upset after we put in the batting cage. But it's really true that you've heard this before. After we win last year in Yankee Stadium, he comes up to me. He was saying it to everyone, 9 more to go, Stan. And then this year, as soon as it was over, the first thing he says is 8 more to go. He's fixated on that, and he keeps working toward it. And I'm not anyone to say he can't lead us to that. I'm not going to say it's impossible.
You can't say that guy can't do anything. This is a question from Doug. And, you knew when you signed him, he was maybe the most talented human being ever to play baseball. So now you've watched him have a 50-50 season. You've watched him hit 3 home runs in the middle of pitching a 10-strikeout 2-hitter on the same night in a postseason game when he also hit a ball out of the stadium and sent you to the World Series. But has anything from Shohei's 2 seasons as a Dodger surprised even you?
On the personal side, I have to say an immediate yes, because once we got through that first game in Korea when the news broke about what we later learned was a swindle by his interpreter, once we got through that, and the interpreter was no longer the wall separating Shohei from everyone else, we learned Shohei's such a terrific guy. Once we could communicate with him directly, we learned how much fun he was in the clubhouse, how good he was with his teammates, how much he cares. We didn't know any of those things because we were told he doesn't want to do this, he doesn't want to do that, he doesn't want to do this, really limited his media appearances. That wasn't ever Shohei. That was always the interpreter. And once that came down, we learned so much more about him that was really great. And the other thing I will say on the field, which is extraordinary, and you've heard me say it before, I'll say it again, we know what the body of a 50 home run hitter looks like. We know that. We also know what the body of a 50 stolen base player looks like. He looks like Doug Glanville. But those are not the same bodies. Those are not the same humans. And this human does that. Oh, and he also pitches. That's all I can say to sum that up.
Yeah, well done. All right, let's shift gears a little bit. The day after